Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Much Abrew About Nothing. And this week, we're heading to Modern to play some matchup roulette. We are going to try to spin into some turn 2, turn 3 emeralds with violent outbursts into Tibalt's Trickery in Modern. Let's talk about the deck real quick, jump into a league, see if it actually works. Alright, so here is the plan of the deck. Our deck is doing one thing and one thing only. We are mulliganing until we find one of our 4 violent outbursts, which shouldn't be too hard because of London Mulligan. So we mulligan until we find this. Then we cast it with 3 mana. 100% of the time, that finds Tibalt's Trickery, which then counters the violent outburst because it's still in the stack. And then 100% of the time, the Tibalt's Trickery is going to spin us into an Emrakul. And that's what the deck does. That's all the deck does. I mean, I guess technically Field of the Dead is a backup plan, but I don't think it's actually a legitimate one. Jingatha, I guess, theoretically is a backup plan, but most modern decks are going to beat Jingatha, or beat your deck doing nothing until turn 7 and then making 2/2s. We do have some lands that matter, like Gemstone Caverns can speed us up by a turn. Nephalia Academy can be discard protection if we're on the play and we get it on turn 1. And that's essentially all the deck does. And you might be listening to this and thinking, well, that's not very diverse. This is the least diverse deck I've ever seen. And I want to correct you there, because actually our deck is very diverse. Sure, when we violent outburst, we're going to hit Tibalt's Trickery, and then Tibalt's Trickery is going to hit Emrakul, but we have 4 different Emrakuls. So really, when we pull this off, we have no idea. Is it going to be the pre-release promo Emrakul? Is it going to be this GP promo Emrakul? Could it be the extended border version of Emrakul? Maybe it's just a master set Emrakul. So even though we're getting an Emrakul, we have no idea which Emrakul it's going to be. So I think there's actually a lot of diversity in the deck, and that's the surprise and the fun of the deck. Who knows what Emrakul it could be on turn 3? So that's the plan. That's Tibalt's Trickery. Let's jump into a league, see it in action. Today's video has been brought to you by London Mulligans. For all the turn 3 Emrakuls you need, head on over to magic.wizards.com. Just kidding. It's really Card Kingdom. And if you need some new Kaldheim cards, you can get them at cardkingdom.com, even get a free Scoop Soldier sticker. So check them out. Alright, much ado about nothing time. We are spinning to win in Modern. Emrakul, Cascade, Tibalt's Trickery. We gotta mulligan this. We do not want 2 Emrakuls in hand. We need a Cascade spell. Alright, there's a Cascade spell. There's 2. Oh boy. Alright. Oh wow, this is excellent. Okay. We have to put 2 cards to the bottom. Let's think about this. So we definitely put Emrakul to the bottom. I would like to keep 2 Cascade spells. I mean, I guess we just trust that we draw a land. So we can put back Temple of Mystery, Gemstone Caverns, Nephalia Academy. Or maybe we are on the draw, right? If we were on the play, I think we just keep 1 violent outburst and lead on Academy. All right. Yep. All right. So we do this. We put Gemstone Caverns into play. We exile Nephalia Drownyard. So we just need to draw a land in our first 2 turns, and our opponent needs to have Boros Thoughtseizes. Opponent hits us. Oh my god, it's not a land. It's an Emmer. Oh my goodness. If we fizzle with this, I'm going to cry. Well, play this. All right, we just need a land. We just need a land. Our deck is all lands. It's Emrakuls and lands. It's almost impossible that we do not hit a land here. Opponent suspends a Rift Bolt. Lightning bolts. Okay. Goes attacking. Oh, it's a Call Me Garden. Okay, untap land. I should have been more specific with our deck. Oh my god, oh my goodness. Wow, this is insane. Okay, well, make a plant. Oh. Oh my goodness. How are we fizzling from this point? I mean, I think our opponent has to literally kill us here, so I think we should still be okay. Goblin Guide goes attacking. Because we can Emrakul twice in a row. Block. And I don't think our opponent can aid us. So we Cascade into Emrakul. Well, oh no, we can't. Oh my goodness. Well, I think this should still be okay. Trickery, Emrakul, cast it. Because we're going to annihilate our opponent's board. So we get the extra turn. Yeah, we can't do it again, that's right, because we only have one Trickery. We will play Temple. So now I don't think anything we do really matters. I guess we're looking for Field of the Dead, mostly. Watch our opponent have Deflecting Palm in hand. Oh my god, that would be insane. We draw more Emeralds. Well. Alright, we made that a little bit sketchy. We almost lost because of hitting all those tap lands, which I guess our deck does have quite a few of. But in the end, Emrakul was just fast enough. So, opponent playing aggro. I guess that means we probably want Blast Zones, Radiant Fountains. Probably going to go down these Field of the Deads, which I feel like there's almost no way we're going to get to 7 lands against burn. Like, pretty much 0% chance. Colony Garden seems fine. We do want untap lands. I guess we're also bringing in... We don't need these academies, right? They don't have discard. So we can go down the academies. Go down... Maybe like 1 Forgotten Cave and 1 Tranquil Thicket? Let's try it like that. Well... apparently fast Emeralds are good in Modern. Who would have guessed? Alright. Jangatha. Ooh. Well, this is a clean turn 3 Emrakul. I guess we keep it and hope we live till turn 3. Bone it. Bloodstained Mire cracks it. Mountain. And Goblin Guide. Opponent attacks. Yeah, we don't have the speeded up card of Gemstone Caverns. We'll just play a Triome. Go. Discard a Temple of Mystery. Well, I mean, let's see if our opponent has 8 cards. Let's see if we live long enough. Opponent, Eidolon of the Great Revel. We're actually kind of okay with that, because that's a slow card. It is going to deal some damage when we Cascade, but we'll see. Down to 16. We draw an Emrakul. We will play Temple of Mystery, Scry. Well, Gemstone Caverns to the bottom. Pass the turn. All right, well, let's see. So opponent gets to hit us for 4. Then they get to hit us for 4 when we Cascade. So that's 8. Gonna be a little close. Opponent, Arid Mesa. We'll see. If they have like 3 lightning bolts in hand, they could have a shot here. Monastery Swift Spear. Yeah. Lightning Bolt. Wow, maybe they can just kill us. If our opponent can get us below 8, Rift Bolt suspended. Attacks. We go to 7. Oh, so we're dead to Rift Bolt. Okay, so our shot is we have to hit Radiant Fountain as our draw next turn, or our opponent was able to race us being on the play. Well, we will Cascade. We're going to 3, so we have to draw Radiant Fountain during our extra turn. Thankfully, we're on the play next game, which means this should not be able to happen. If we draw Radiant Fountain, we win, I think. Well, yeah, we get the Emrakul. Oh, just kidding. Our opponent's at 12. I forgot. I was thinking that we hadn't damaged our opponent, but they took a ton of damage off their mana base. Oh my goodness. Well, yeah. I guess TLDR, your opponents damage themselves a lot in Modern. I honestly didn't even look at our opponent's life total. I was not paying any attention. I was thinking about if it would be possible for us to beat the damage, but instead, our opponent did it for us. I wonder if our opponent... I mean, I think this is just a really bad matchup for our opponent, but I do wonder if our opponent should have tried to stay above 15 somehow. I mean, I guess... So they were playing to beat us if we didn't have it this turn, but we did have it this turn, and I mean, that's what our deck does. We have it. Like, that's what we mulligan for. Yeah, I wonder if our opponent misplayed that somehow. I don't know what they could have done differently, though. They got basics with their fetches. They took, what, 4 off of Eidolon? Or 6 off of Eidolon? Yeah, and I mean, Eidolon, at the same time, even though Eidolon got our opponent below 15, it is what got us low enough. We took 4 damage off of our Violent Outburst, Tibalt's Trickery, where the Rift Bolt would have been lethal post-Emrakul, but, yeah, alright, we will We will accept it. Emrakul. It's a good Magic card. Sweet. All right. Much ado about nothing time. We are trickering our opponent. Trickerying. Tricking. I guess it would be tricking. We are tricking our opponents in Modern. Opponent's playing Yarion, which probably means counters. We do not have a Cascade spell, so we are going to mulligan. Still no Cascade spell. Mulligan. Multiple Cascade spells and a Gemstone Cavern. Keep. So we will put, let's see, put this to the bottom, put this to the bottom. Actually, are they going to have discard? All right. Bottom. I think that's fine. Gemstone Caverns. Exile Wooded Foothills. I mean, we're just going to trust. Our deck is all lands. It's 50 or 48 lands. So the odds of us having a land are pretty high. Utopia Sprawl. Whiffing on a land here would be, oh my goodness. Oh my, come on now. Okay, rather than one of our 47 lands, we draw one of our 4 Emrakuls. This does complicate things because it means that we could hit a tap land here, and hitting a tap land means we're missing this turn. Okay, we hit on tap land, so Snow Covered. Okay, so now we win. All right, crack this. Get a snow-covered mountain. I think we will Cascade with Violent Outburst. I think we will Cascade into Tibalt's Trickery. We know the end. We don't know which of our 4 different Emrakuls we'll get, but we know we're getting one of them. All right, Emrakul, extra turn. Opponent's at 15, extra turn. This time we are looking at the life total. We will attack and 15 you, and boy, Modern's easy these days. Easy mode. Wow, this is so unfair. Like, what's our opponent gonna do about this? They're playing some sort of like Naya mid-range pile. Like, what is their like? How do they ever beat this? I mean, I guess we beat ourselves. Maybe they have some sideboard cards, but in reality, like, it seems difficult for our opponent to ever beat this. Well, I think we bring in Blast Zones to deal with potential hate cards. Go down to Thalia Academy, and then Mutavault. Is there any other lands that are bad? Emrakul, or Emrakul Ulamat. Yeah, I guess we just run it like that. Bring the Blast Zones in case our opponent has, like, Damping Spheres or something would be annoying, or Deafening Silence, Rule of Law, those are even worse. Well, that went pretty well. Not easy to beat an Emrakul. Who'd have guessed? Who'd have guessed the Emrakul on turn 2 or turn 3 would be good? All right, what's our opening hand look like? See what hate cards our opponent has. We will reveal Chingatha. This hand, no Cascade, no keep. Cascade Gemstone Caverns. Yes, we will keep. Let's see. So that's just going to exile something. We can scry land on 1. We have an untapped mountain. All right, let's just put Tranquil Fit. Well, actually, the question is, what if they have a hate card? So maybe we just put Temple of Abandon to the bottom. So we have cycling. I think that's fine. So we can Gemstone, exile the Triome. Turn 2, scry. Turn 3, hopefully win. Temple Garden tapped. Oh boy, opponent. Oh, you're going to need something more than that. Well, let's scry. Do we keep... You know what? I think we keep Field of the Dead. That's our backup plan. If something goes horribly wrong, we can make land drops. All right, does our opponent have a hate card? They crack. Breeding Pool untapped. Oh my god, opponent. No. All right, well, I mean, I guess they could have Force of Negation. But Wall of Blossom seems less likely to be enough. Opponent passes. We will Wooded Foothills, crack it. Well, I mean, they need blue card Force of Negation in hand, I believe. We will take a mountain. We will cast a Violent Outburst. That will Cascade into Tibalt's Trickery, which will counter Violent Outburst. Do you have Force of Negation blue card? They do not. So we get an Emrakul, and we win. This is so unfair. I actually feel dirty about this. Like, we were on the draw, opponent went land Wall of Blossoms, and we went land Emrakul. And it's 100% to hit, too, if they don't have to... Wow. Okay, well, yeah, welcome to 2021 Modern. Kind of like 2020 Modern, but way faster and more broken. Okay, sweet. All right. Much brew about nothing time. We are playing some tricks on our opponent in Modern. 2 Emrakuls is not a keep. 1 Emrakul, also not a keep. We need our Violent Outburst. That is a keep if we can find it. All right, that's a keep. So we'll keep Violent Outburst. We'll put these 2 Gemstone Caverns to the bottom, and, well, we will see what happens. Temple of Abandon. Scry. Land, I guess, to the bottom. Go. Well, let's see if our opponent has interaction. That is the question. Ooh, black mana. All right, this might be tougher. This probably means discard and also counter spells, which probably means a bad... Yeah, okay. Well, now we need to find another Trickery, and we only have 3 in our deck. Well, Temple of Mystery, Scry. Wooded Foothills to the bottom. Opponent. Snow-covered island. And even if we do find it, there's no guarantee that we can win because our opponent probably also has counters. So we're seeing the drawback after absolutely just stomping the first 2 matches. So it wasn't even close. We're seeing how interaction can be good against us. Opponent plays a land. We would also not mind finding Field of the Dead. That could be a way we could potentially, very slowly, win. Oh, dear. Okay, that makes things more complicated. So we draw our 1 Tibalt's Trickery. So now we need to do this in the... in the very awkward way of drawing our Cascade spell and then hard casting Trickery. I guess we could also Trickery our opponent. Do we concede? You know what? Let's do this for... Are we going to concede here? If we're going to concede, we could Tibalt's Trickery our opponent's Thoughtseize and then concede. The other possibility is... you know what? We won't concede. We won't concede. Sure. Well, Emrakul is off the table unless we get to 15 lands somehow. I guess we could be putting Jingoth in our hand. I guess we should have already done that this turn. Well, now our opponent does not have much to be afraid of. Oh, they have Uro. Okay. All right. Now we will concede. Jingotha doesn't beat Uro. Uro means we die before we get Field of the Dead going, so, yeah. And we weren't going to draw anything for forever anyway. Okay. Well, you can see the drawback. You can see the drawback. This does change things a bit. So what this means, I think, is as we are mulliganing, we're not just going to be looking for Violent Outbursts. We're also going to be looking for Nephalia Academy. Although this still doesn't beat counters. Maybe, Mutavault's going to die. Yeah, I mean, this is the drawback. We saw the insane power against Burn, against the mid-range, like, Naya pile. Now we're seeing the drawback, which is interaction is still good against us. It is very, very good against us. We are not going to keep Trickery in hand. Oh my god, we can't get away from the Trickery. We can't do it. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Well, at least we have 2 Violent Outbursts. We definitely do not want to draw the Emrakul. We've had Emrakul on top of our deck a lot of times this league, which is kind of crazy. Want to regrave for our opponent. And Thoughtseize. I wonder if we were just, like, drawing dead to this deck. Maybe we just can't beat it. Well, Stomping Grounds tapped. Pass the turn. Opponent. Snow-covered island passes. Okay, another Violent Outburst. So the problem is, we only have 1 Trickery. So, if our opponent counters that, more Violent Outbursts don't actually help us. Opponent plays a land. Passes. Well, play Forgotten. And our opponent knows it's coming. They know. Well, we will pass. I mean, I think we still have to Trickery, right? There's not really an option to not go for it, because how else are we going to win? But if it doesn't work, which I would be surprised if it did, yeah, I mean, all right, let's go for it, I guess. I guess we should have scryed after, but Violent Outburst, opponent, do you have a counter? Opponent knows what's up. They know they got to get rid of the Trickery. And force the Negation. All right, well, I guess we won't concede quite yet, but I mean, we could rough Field to the Dead. So Trickery's gone. So that means Emerald's, Cascade, all that is off the table. Yeah, our opponent's deck, I don't know if we ever beat it, honestly. Opponent has a Jace, and, all right, yeah. Well, in true Trickery fashion, either we're killing you on turn 3, or we were scooping it up early in the game. All right. Much ado about nothing time. We are, trying to trick some opponents in Modern with the help of, Tibalt's Trickery, maybe, Violent Outburst, and some Emeralds. A very diverse build of Cascade into Trickery. Well, okay. Oh no, wait. This means our opponent's gonna get their Emerald first. Maybe they're not doing this? I mean, I don't think we can mulligan this hand. We don't know for sure that they're playing what we're playing. Okay, Flooded Strand. So they're probably not playing what we're playing. Island. Sleight of hand. Do we want to let our opponent know what we're doing is the question. They got to be storming. So they're not going to... Okay, so we will just play the Triome. Go. Opponent. Oh, okay. I don't know what our opponent's doing. Chromatic Star. Spire Bluff. Is this Storm with Chromatic Star? Opponent passes. Well, we will play a Forest. Go. Still trying to disguise what we're really up to. Seacroak Ghost. Game. Okay. That's why you win the die rolls. So Teferi means Violent Outburst Cascade doesn't work. We can't get rid of it. Yeah. Okay. So, well, now we know. We need to be on the play. I guess we can bring in Mutavault. Bring in Blast Zone. I feel like these Field of the Deads are super ambitious. Go down Gemstone Caverns. Go down Nephalia Academy. Run it like that. Yeah, Teferi does just, like, straight up beat us. I mean, when I say straight up beat us, like, yes, I guess in theory we could live till we get to 7 lands in Field of the Dead, but in reality, I don't actually think that backup plan is very practical. We don't have any ramp. I mean, I guess we could try Jagatha, but I don't even think that's very practical, so I don't know. I'm kind of a believer if the plan doesn't work, just scoop it up. I don't think the backup plans are actually worth pursuing in like 99% of matchups. I think they really don't matter. Well, so far we're in match 4 of our league, and so far what we've seen is there are some popular modern matchups where feels like we literally can't lose, and then there are some popular modern matchups where it feels like we literally can't win. Where, like, our opponent has 2 Thoughtseizes, or a Thoughtseize, or a Counterspell, or a Teferi. On the other hand, if our opponent doesn't have those cards, it's just kind of a freebie for the most part, where it's like, hey, we just kill you on turn 3. So whether or not that's... I don't know. I don't know if that's good or bad. I will say this is probably going to be the fastest league we've ever played for much Abrew. Like, we're breaking the land speed record, that's for sure. Yeah, we will play first. Reveal Jagatha. Sadly, now our opponent also knows what we're doing. Alright, I mean, we got the Violent Outburst, but opponent knows what's up, so they're going to probably mulligan for an answer. And we don't really have an answer to counter spells. Well, tab line go. Opponent, Flooded Strand, cracks it. Island. Serum Visions. So next turn's a huge turn. We would like our opponent to tap out, and we would like our... draw an Emrakul. We would like our opponent to tap out, and we would like our opponent to not have a Force of Negation. If those 2 things happen, then we win. Opponent is leaving up mana. Oh, boy. Well, we will get a Forest. We will cycle Tranquil Thicket. Untap. I mean, we got to go for it, right? We can't just not go for it because our opponent's leaving mana up. I mean, I don't think we cannot go for it. Violent Outburst. I mean, this is what our deck does. It's not going to get better. Our opponent knows we only have one thing to do. They're not going to just suddenly not leave up mana unless they can play Teferi or something. Wow, okay, just kidding. Opponent was bluffing. That's an Emrakul. All right, good game. Wow, all right, they didn't have it. Well, that's why you go for it. You go for it and you pray really hard to the Magic gods, and sometimes the Magic gods listen. I'm actually pretty shocked that our opponent did not have a counter there. What did they keep? What did they keep if they're not keeping a counter? Well, we will bring these Gemstone Caverns back in since we're going to be on the draw this game. I still want the Mutavaults to be able to attack Teferi. I still want the Blast Zone to be able to attack Teferi. So what we're going to be looking for is either Gemstone Caverns to speed up by a turn, get around Teferi, or probably some sort of interactive card. Like, are we going to actually stick around to try to Field of the Dead this deck? It seems so unlikely that we will. Like, it just seems super, super unlikely. All right, go down a Field of the Dead. Go down a Field of the Dead. Go down. We're not going to stick around. We're not going to stick around. Like, we're going for the turn 3 kill. I don't think the backup plan is practical. Go down a Tranquil Thicket, and run it like that. All right, so opponent's on the play. So we would really like to have Gemstone Caverns plus Cascade. Huh. Okay. You know what? I think we keep this. This is this is not Gemstone Caverns plus Cascade, but it is a lot of our other sideboard lands that can get around some of our opponent's hate cards. One backup plan that could be practical is our opponent mulligans really aggressively to try to stop our combo and then loses to Mutavaults. That does seem like it could happen. We probably just have to play a tap land. Or are we chipping in for damage? Well, I guess we have untapped. All right, so Mutavault, go. Probably better known as the Teferi Assassin. Flooded Strand for our opponent, and passes. Well, Temple of Epiphany. Sure. Actually, we don't want to draw Emrakul. Let's go bottom. Well, let's see what our opponent does here. Opponent. Mishra's Bauble. Cracks it, takes a peek. Cracks it. Hollowed Fountain, untapped. Oh, we draw an Emrakul. Do we go for it is the question. I'm not sure that we do. I mean, it worked out last time. Our opponent did mull to 5. You know what? We're going to beat down with Mutavault. Hit ya. Down to 15. Mutavault. Maybe we can lure our opponent into a false sense of security and kill them with 2/2s. I'm sure they sideboard out the removal because it's so bad against us. Opponent, Scalding Tarn. Cracks it. This also means we can kill a Teferi. Island. Teferi. Okay. So, I mean, this means our opponent doesn't die this turn. Oh, Mox Amber. Interesting. Takes up Teferi. Well, Flooded, Wooded Foothills. Crack Wooded Foothills. Get a Forest. Mutavault. Mutavault. Attack Teferi down to 1. Pass the turn. We're playing this exceedingly fairly at the moment. Opponent takes up Teferi. Maybe we should have just went for it. Sacred Foundry tapped. Opponent passing. So, well, Mutavault. Mutavault. Go to combat. Both at Teferi to make sure it dies. Alright, Teferi down. Stomping Grounds, untapped. Pass the turn. Okay. Well, this is interesting, Certain Visions. When do we go for it is the question. Opponent, 1 to the top. Breeding Pool, tapped. Opponent passing. Oh, this might be it. This might be it. This might be the time. We'll cycle Forgotten Cave. Violent Outburst. Do we just go for it? Mutavault. Or we just keep beating down with Mutavaults for now until our opponent finds a way out of it. So fire up Mutavault because a Violent Outburst is probably going to resolve anyway. Green, red, Mutavault. Violent Outburst. Well, let's see if they got a counter. Trickery. Violent Outburst. Okay. That's actually kind of fine because it means we're just going to draw it again next turn. So Ether Gust is a pretty temporary solution. Hit our opponent to 11. Opponent. They did leave something on top of their deck. What it is, I'm not sure. Well, we actually would have gotten to Field of the Dead this game. Opponent. Underworld Breach. To recast Teferi? Okay. Yeah. And sleight of hand. Okay. Sure. So now we gotta kill the Teferi again. And then we can again try to go off. Teferi ticks up. Yeah. Underworld Breach goes away. Well, we will Mutavault. Mutavault. Go to combat. Attack Teferi. Temple of Abandon. I think we keep that just to pump our creatures past the turn. Well, okay, opponent. What do you got? So our opponent, I'm sure, has some infinite combos as well. Takes up Teferi. Oh, it's Jeskai Ascendancy. Okay, another Teferi. Huh. All right. Takes up Teferi. Well, we will cycle. Untap. Mutavault. Mutavault. Violent Outburst. Cascade doesn't do anything, but it does pump our creatures. Which means we get to kill Teferi and hit our opponent. Temple of Epiphany. Colony Garden bottom. All right, well, this is it. Can our opponent win this game? Win this turn? Otherwise, hopefully we're set to win next turn. All right, Sleight of Hand loots. They need to hit a creature that they can tap and untap, which is probably Fate Stitcher. Oh, they have Fate Stitcher. Okay. Well, opponent might win now. Jeez, that's what they needed. Well, let's see if they fizzle. They only have 2 cards in hand. Untaps. Chromatic Star. Untaps. Yeah, I mean, I think odds are that we lose now. Opponent. Cracks Chromatic Star to draw a card. We need our opponent to hit 2 lands in a row, basically. Soul Guide Lantern. Loots. Away a land. Yeah. Sacks it to exile graveyards. Interesting. I assumed they were going to draw a card there, but that's fine. Jingatha. Oh my god, I think they fizzled. So now we need to cast Violent Outburst. Tibalt's Trickery it. Emrakul win. Wow. Oh, I think our opponent did intend to draw a card with that Soul Guide Lantern and might have, they said misclicked in the chat, so I think they did intend to draw a card. Well, that was interesting. You do not get too many turn 9 wins with this deck, I don't think, but, well, this time we did. Sweet. All right, much Abrew About Nothing time. We are playing a very fair deck in, ooh, all right, well, we got the Violent Outburst. As long, well, we'll see what our opponent's up to. That's always a big question. What is our opponent doing? Is it a free win? Do they have interaction? We will find out. Well, that's Temple of Epiphany, scry. The only thing that we really don't want to have happen at this point is draw the Tibalt's Trickery. Or see a Thoughtseize or counter. Okay. Interesting. Tranquil Thicket to the top. Well, this could mean counters. It would be pretty sweet if our opponent tapped out for something. That would make us happy. That would make us super happy. Counters are pretty good against us. Well, pass the turn. Opponent cracks their Flooded Strand. Gets a Hallowed Fountain. Well, that does nothing to relieve my fear of counters. Do we just have to go for it, though? We probably do, right? I expect that we do. Because next turn, they're not going to tap out. Well, yeah, I mean, put them to the test. That's what this deck is about. Well, let's test them. Violent Outburst. Trickery. Target Violent Outburst. Please no interaction. All right, well, we made him force negation. Bad news is, this does mean that the Trickery win is off the table for the rest of the game. So now we are to the try to piece it together somehow mode. Opponent, Island. Okay, Teferi. I mean, we won't scoop quite yet, but we probably will fairly aggressively. Cycle. Colony Garden. Make a plant. Cycle. Pass the turn. So the backup plan at this point is, I mean, I guess we can get Jengatha at some point, but there's almost no way that works. I think the backup plan at this point is to try to find a Field of the Dead. Well, let's psych. You know what? Let's first Wooded Foothills. Let's crack it. Thin the deck. Get a Forest. Cycle. Get Jengatha. Pass the turn. All right. Go, Elk. I mean, you never know. It could do something. I mean, our opponent's got to have a lot of removal, and they definitely have a lot of cantrips. Opponent. Oh boy, Jace. Okay, we're getting very close to the scoop part of the game. Very, very close. We actually probably are at the scoop part of the game, honestly. We'll draw one more card and see if it's Field of the Dead. This Jace is going to be able to keep us from finding Field of the Dead in the future. Untap land. Well, we will cycle. Actually, let's do this. Let's do this the best way we can. Wooded Foothills. Crack Wooded Foothills. Thin the deck. Very slightly increase our odds. Snow-covered forest. Cycle. And yes, now... can we just scoop now? Probably. Yeah, I think we scoop now. All right. Sure. We put him to the test, and we failed the test. Or they passed the test, rather. All right, so we'll bring in Mutavault. We'll go down Gemstone Cavern, since we're going to be on the play. We will go up Blast Zones. We will go down to Nephalia Academy, since our opponent doesn't have discard. I wonder, is it even worth, like, an Ulamog or something? It means our main plan doesn't work. At the same time, like, in theory, 10 mana is less than 15. Although, it still seems unlikely that we're going to be able to get to it. Yeah, alright, run it like that. Go, Mutavaults. Wow, this deck has the most polarizing matchups out of any deck I've ever played, I think. Like, literally, we've played, this is our 5th match now, the last match of our league. We've played one, like, kind of interesting match against that Teferi, like, Underworld Breach combo deck. Otherwise, it's been 2 matches where it felt like we couldn't lose, and then 2 matches, including this one, where it kind of feels like we almost can't win. So I guess, I don't know, we're going to end with, I mean, assuming we do lose this, which I don't want to write it off. Yeah, anything can happen. Like, anything can happen, even in the bad matchups. But assuming we do end up losing this match, I mean, we had a winning record. I guess it just really depends. I could see you easily going 5-0 with this deck. I could see you easily going 0-5. I think there is a... It is just purely, like, matchup roulette, essentially. If you hit the Thoughtseize / Control decks, you're going to have a rough go. If you dodge the Thoughtseize / Control decks, you're probably going to just easily win every single game. Is that a healthy play pattern for Modern? I don't know. Probably not. I don't think you just want any deck that isn't a Thoughtseize deck or a Counterspell deck to just be drawing dead. But maybe the Thoughtseize decks and Counterspell decks... Oh, that's really awkward. Wow. So we have the Violent Outburst, and we have some of our sideboard cards, but we have the Trickery in hand, so we got a mulligan. All right. Well, this is better. We will put a... Let's see, untapped. So we can Mutavault into, Mutavault Temple of Abandoned Wooded Foothills, I guess? Alright, so put Wooded Foothills to the bottom. Actually, we're not attacking Mutavault anyway. So let's just Temple of Abandoned. Pathway... It's really weird. We don't want this pathway, but I feel like one of the things that Scry does in the early game is defend us against drawing our Trickery. So I think even though we don't want this land, leaving it on top because it's not a card that we really don't want, like R1 Trickery, is probably correct. Oh. Well, good news, bad news. Good news is our opponent's got 1 mana up. Bad news is we already know they got Force Negation. Okay, well, we will Snow-covered forest and Violent Outburst. I mean, make 'em have it. Tibalt's Trickery, target Violent Outburst. Do you have it? Opponent does have it. Alright, well, that makes things worse. Alright, it's Mutavault's time to shine. Opponent play. Wow, 2 Teferis. That's awkward. Takes it up. Well, we will Mutavault. Attack. Does this Teferi matter anymore? Not really. Attack our opponent. Wooded Foothills to thin the deck and go. Well, we are firmly in really hard backup plan mode. Yeah, Force Negation. Pretty good. Pretty good. Opponent Ops. Field of Ruin. Probably going to blow up our Mutavault. So we're looking for more Mutavaults, and we're looking for Field of the Dead. Those are the relevant cards at this point. Crag this. Get a Stomping Grounds tapped. We do want to leave basics because of Field of Ruin. Cycle Forgot Cave. Well, another Mutavault. Fire at Mutavault. Go to combat. Attack our opponent. Opponent kills Mutavault 1. We will grab a Forest. Mutavault. And get Jingatha. And go. Opponent. I wonder if it's actually possible to win a game like this. Like, I'm sure eventually it'll happen, but I wonder what the odds are of winning these games when you are trying to piece it together with, like, Mutavaults and hit your Field of the Dead or whatever. I'm assuming it's really low. Oh, boy. All right, that's going to make it worse. Well, we will cycle. Temple of Mystery. I don't even know if it's worth playing this Jingatha, honestly, because it's just going to get owned by Teferi Tribal over there. I do like that we keep drawing Mutavaults, though. Go to combat. Attack our opponent. Another Mutavault. And go. Oh, we might have to change it up and attack Big Teferi at some point. We can't let that one ultimate. Little Teferi, whatever. Like, you're going to draw cards. You're going to do your thing. Force a Negation. Please put that on your deck. Okay. That's a dead card now. So we're glad our opponent has that. Well, I mean, we got a plan. I don't know if it's a good one, but it is technically a plan. So we will Mutavault. I mean, if our opponent answers these Mutavaults, then the game, I think, ends. Go to combat. I would assume they don't have too much removal in their deck, though. Oh. Alright, yeah. Fair enough. They left. Well, I guess they can leave Interminus because it actually is theoretically kind of a way you can deal with Emrakul. So, well, that was something. So we finished with a winning record. We went 3-2 in the most lopsided set of matches I have ever played with a Magic deck. Like, seriously. It really is. You either can't win or you can't lose. There's no real Magic happening here. We're flipping the matchup coin, matchup roulette. 1 treasure chest, 50 play points, and a violent ultimatum. Maybe like the second to worst ultimatum you could get. Third, definitely bottom tier ultimatum. It's not bad though. Like 3 permanents for 7 mana. I don't know. I never even see anyone play in Commander though. So probably just not enough, really, but especially now that the Mardu one is just like blow up all of your opponents. It can't hit 3 lands though. Like 3 lands is a thing. That is any permanent, so maybe we should play more violent ultimatums. Well, alright, wrap up. We're gonna do it right here. I don't think there's any reason to switch. So what do we learn about this deck? And the answer is exactly what we've been talking about all video. Either you cannot win or you cannot lose. There's almost no middle ground with Tibalt's Trickery. We played 5 matches. We went 3-2 in our 5 matches. In those 5 matches, we had 2 matchups where it felt like we literally couldn't lose, and we won super easily. We had 2 matchups where it felt like we literally couldn't win because our opponent had Thoughtseizes and Force Negations and Teferis. And then we had one weird matchup where our opponent had Teferi, which is good against us, but not much else because they were like Jeskai Ascendancy combo. And we did manage to win that one in the late game, in part because our opponent fizzled. So is Tibalt's Trickery in this deck with, 49 lands or 51 lands in the main deck, is this breaking Modern? And I actually don't know the answer to that. So I don't think this deck is unbeatable. We saw that. You can beat this deck if you play Thoughtseizes, if you play Force of Negations. There are answers that are incredibly good against this deck. On the other hand, it does just straight up destroy a lot of decks in the format. The decks that don't have access to those cards. do we want that to exist in Modern? I'm actually not sure. So I guess the best case scenario for Tibalt's Trickery in Modern is probably this. It's probably that there's enough Thoughtseize, Force and Negation style decks to keep the deck in check that you can still play decks that lose to Tibalt's Trickery, because if Tibalt's Trickery is losing 60-70% of the time to the Thoughtseize / Force and Negation decks, then maybe you can just play your burn deck or play your Yorion pile that we absolutely destroyed when they played a Wall of Blossoms and did nothing else. Like, maybe you could still play those decks to beat up on the decks that beat up on Trickery. At the same time, oh man, it is the epitome of just flipping coins. Like, it really is. And the coin flip, it isn't so much the deck. We always had Violent Outburst by turn 2 or turn 3. That was not an issue. So the consistency of this build is extremely high. Like, yes, there will be games where you mulligan to 0, but with London mulligans, they are actually really infrequent, just like Zombie Hunt. At the same time, is that a play pattern you want? This, like, coin flip on turn 3 play pattern? I don't know. Is that something that's healthy and fun, or is it something that is miserable? Is it magic? I don't even know anymore. I don't know. So I would say Tibalt's Trickery, you can put it together fairly inexpensively, I think. Like, Emrakul does have a cost. In some of the lands do have value, but you could build a budget mana-based version of this if you wanted to. The backup plans, not super impressive, I would say. Like, I'm not even sure if it's worth it, honestly. It might be worth it to play one of the, like, transformational sideboard builds rather than just a bunch more lands, where maybe you're sideboarding out this package and sideboarding in, we've seen people try, like, Amulet Titan, for example, or something like that. Maybe that's the way to go, because I don't think the backup plans are super practical. Like, maybe you could get there with Mutavault if you get really lucky, but really, I don't think it's exceedingly likely to work. So, I don't know. I don't know what I think of this deck, honestly. I think it's cool for now, but I really hope it ends up being like tier 3, you don't face it very often, rather than tier 1, because if it is tier 1, it is going to push a lot of decks out of the format. Good news is, as we saw, there's cards that are really good against it. You can't beat a Thoughtseize, essentially, at least not very easily. Like, in theory, yes, you can have Nephalia Academy, and then get Thoughtseize, and you win the die roll, and that works out, but really, you're not often going to beat Thoughtseize. You're definitely not often, or really ever, going to beat an opponent that just leaves up counter spells. So I don't know. Maybe there's a way to make a sideboard plan that gets around that better than this sideboard plan. I will say the sideboard, meh. Like, I don't know when you're ever bringing in these other two Eldrazi. Jingatha, I guess it's a free roll, but it doesn't seem like it's ever going to actually win a game. The bad matchups are going to be like Teferiing or whatever anyway. And then the lands are fine, but maybe there's a better way to build it. So anyway, that's Tibalt Trickery. That's our budget brew for this week. Let me know what you think. Like, is it good that this deck exists? Is it going to be fun long-term? Is it going to be good long-term? Or is the metagame going to adjust to it? I don't really know. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.